Hello everyone, it's Ty. Well before I took umbrage with what Zenless did to Minato, I was annoyed with what they had done to Pan Yinhu. A number of reasons for that rage spun into a number of topic outlines, but I never quite finished scripting any of them. And now, in light of the information from patch 2.3, I seem to have developed an unexpected new perspective on him and his unfortunate place in the game. So today, I thought we'd take a look at the lamentable story of Pan Yinhu. Pan Yinhu was the first Husbando revealed in the version 2 trailer, and technically was also our first Husbando of version 2, even if he was an A rank. His announcement was rather exciting for many, particularly a large contingent of folks who were eager to play a kung fu panda. In some respects, he did not disappoint, with very fun animations and the whole aesthetic that so many were looking forward to. Sadly, the poor design of his kit effectively prevented him from being anything more than an accessory for Yi Shen. While he was, well, still is, a defense character, there's nothing at all defensive about him. Unlike every other defense agent, Yinhu doesn't have a shield of any kind. And though he scales on attack like Seth, his actual damage capabilities are basically non-existent. He is far more like a support character, since the crux of his kit is the application of a sheer force buff from his EX special. This is the first of his problems. Sheer force is a stat used in the calculation of sheer damage. However, only rupture agents deal sheer damage, and are therefore the only ones who can benefit from sheer force. From the very beginning, Yinhu's main function was only useful to one character, Yi Shen. His next problem is his additional ability, which applies a debuff to enemies hit by his EX special, increasing their damage taken by 20%. The utility of this ability is exactly the sort of thing that would give him a viable purpose outside of Rupture DPS teams. Unfortunately, it's locked behind being in a team with either a Rupture character or a member of the Yunhui Summit faction. This seems to me like a little bit of a hat on a hat when you consider that his buff, which buffs a stat that only Rupture agents use, would mean he'd obviously want to be in a team with a Rupture agent anyway. And maybe even a hat on a hat on a hat, given that the only Rupture agent is Yi Shen, a member of the Yunhui Summit. While it does also mean he's able to be used with Jifufu and some other DPS, it's a ridiculously restrictive situation. Without at least one of them, he's pretty much useless. To reiterate, without a Rupture character or a Yunhui Summit character, Yinhu does nothing on a team that makes him worth using. This makes him the only character in the game whose viability as a character is intrinsically linked to having and using a very specific, very narrow set of other characters. But this is merely an unfortunate circumstance, right? While the situation seems limited due to the lack of Rupture characters, the release of more of them in the future should see him hit his stride and become extremely useful as the only character who can buff sheer force. Right? Well, in version 2.3, we've seen we're getting 2 new Rupture agents in Minato and Yidari. But what we also get is the very character who puts the nail in Yinhu's coffin. Lucia is a support character who can effectively be described as Pan Yinhu++. She does everything he does, but better. Sheer force buffing, max HP buffing, full party healing, meaningful off-field damage, and a damage buff equivalent to Yinhu's vulnerability, but without being restricted to specific targets. Moreover, all of this is in her base kit. Her additional ability, which also has far less stringent requirements, is a further increase to team-wide damage. Unlike Yinhu, while Lucia is intended to be a Rupture support, she is fully capable outside of a Rupture team. Admittedly, the existence of Lucia doesn't necessarily render Yinhu any more irrelevant than his own kit already does. He'll still be an A-rank version of Lucia, more or less, providing buffs to Rupture characters for those who don't have her but do have him. The fact remains, however, that anyone who's interested in ensuring that their Rupture DPS are performing at their best will likely pull for her, and from that point on, it'll be Pan Yinhu? So ends this lamentable tale, and it's just a shame. It's a shame that his kit was so poorly designed that outside of teams with two specific characters, he's practically worthless. It's a shame that when more characters were released that he could be used with, his vastly superior replacement was also released, rendering him so quickly obsolete. And it's a shame that our first version 2 Husbando, our Kung Fu Panda, was so incredibly disrespected by being made nothing more than a purse that goes with Yishan's shoes. But maybe that's just me. What do you think? Do you agree that he deserved better? Do you somehow think that there's still a future for him out there? Let me know down in the comments. Short of a redesign, something I think that we were way too far in to see, I think the easiest way to at least give him a semblance of usefulness would be to open up his additional ability restrictions, like they did with Lucy and Pulchra. Make him so that he works with both attack and Rupture agents. It wouldn't make him amazing, but I think it would at least be useful that he could apply his vulnerability debuff. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this sort of thing, please feel free to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to see when I next post something of this nature. It'll still be like freaking forever until our Manito pulls, but if you want to see those in, like October or some at, isn't it? Well, anyway, be sure to subscribe. Anywho, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you all again next time. Bye!